What is this light getting crazy on me right now? What is this over here? Thank you, sun. All right, this is almost the same lighting. I don't even have the words to describe this film properly. This video has been an adventure. Hey everyone, I'm Marianna, and today, as promised, I am back with another seasonal top 5. I'm here to talk about my favorite films that I watched this fall. There was a lot of really good stuff that came out in theaters that I really enjoyed. There was a bunch of stuff that I watched and caught up on from earlier years, so there was a lot to choose from, but this was probably one of the easiest lists that I've ever made because the standouts were so obvious. If you missed the top 5 books version of this video, I will have a link to that for you in the info box below, along with any of the reviews that I mentioned here today. And let's get into those top 5 movies. Wait, just kidding. I have some honorable mentions first. So there are 3 things that I want to briefly talk about before I get into the actual list because they were great and I would absolutely recommend all 3, but they just missed my list. The first is a miniseries, Unbelievable, which came out on Netflix in September, and I think 2019 was trying to kill me with heartbreaking miniseries. This is based on a true story and follows Marie, a teenager who was charged with lying about being raped, but who was actually a victim of a serial rapist. It has an amazing cast with Caitlin Dever as Marie, whom you probably saw earlier this year in Booksmart, and also starring Toni Collette and Merritt Wever as 2 detectives. It is a really well-written and well-told story. Definitely made me cry, very frustrating to watch at times, and easily one of the best series of this year. My other 2 honorable mentions are Ad Astra and Knives Out, which could not have been more different, but I really enjoyed both of these films. One is a thought-provoking, meditative sci-fi drama about a man searching for his father with a powerful lead performance, and the other is an incredibly entertaining and engaging murder mystery with an all-star ensemble cast. I have reviews for both of them on my channel, so if you want my more detailed thoughts and not just a quick 1-sentence description, check them out if you haven't seen them. All right, let's get on to that top 5 now. Starting this list at number 5 is First Man. I cannot believe that it took me this long to watch this film, especially considering that Damien Chazelle is definitely one of my favorite directors working today. But I finally watched it. Really sad I wasn't able to see it on the big screen, but obviously I still loved it on my TV. This is a biographical drama about Neil Armstrong starting in 1961 and building up to the Apollo 11 mission in 1969, which of course made Armstrong the first man to walk on the moon. The film takes a very personal and introspective approach to the story, which is something I loved, and it manages to be sad and inspiring at the same time. I am a big fan of films that tackle loneliness in general, but when they combine loneliness and space, I am an even bigger fan. I love that type of stuff. So, of course, First Man was something I really enjoyed. I would actually say that this is spiritually close to Ad Astra, even though First Man came out before. You know what I mean. Basically, if you saw Ad Astra and you haven't seen First Man, I think you would really enjoy it, and vice versa. It's not really your cheerful, yay space, triumphant type of film, even though it does have a little bit of that. There's a lot of struggle and inner turmoil involved in First Man, and that is, once again, why I appreciated it. It is very much a character piece, but when you do get to the moon, those shots are absolutely incredible. I also have to mention the score. I remember everybody was upset in the beginning of this year because the score was not nominated for an Oscar. And finally, when I watched the film and I heard the score, I am now retrospectively very upset about that snub as well. My friend gave me this vinyl, which is, first of all, absolutely gorgeous, but listening to this just, it puts you in the mood, and it's some of the most gorgeous film music that I've heard in the past few years. Basically, I need a new Damien Chazelle film in my life right about now. Next up, at number 4, I have Love, Antosha. This is a documentary about the unfortunately short life of Anton Yelchin, and this was definitely heartbreaking, but also inspiring at the same time. I feel like I just said something similar about First Man. This has been my theme lately. I want movies that inspire me, but also are kind of melancholic. I don't think I've ever been that emotional while watching a documentary, and it's not even that it's soul-crushingly sad, because it's not. It's the constant realization that we lost a genuinely good and talented human being. It's seeing his drive and passion for his work, his desire to always dig deeper. It's the love he had for his parents and his constant need for creative expression, seeing what kind of person he was and how much he affected the lives of the people he was close to and people he worked with. That is what makes this documentary such an emotional experience. Watching this made me find a new appreciation for Anton Yelchin's work and for him as a person, and I actually felt inspired and affected just through hearing other people talk about him and through his own words that were included in this documentary. So I would definitely recommend this, even though you may not be the biggest fan of his or you just might not know a lot of his work. I think you're going to be surprised by how interesting and emotionally affecting this documentary is. What is this light getting crazy on me right now? What is this over here? Hi, sun. Oh, you can see the shadow of my camera over here. You know, we're just going to go with it because I'm not about to start refilming this video when I'm halfway through it. Thank you, son. For number 3, I am going with Jojo Rabbit. This is one of the biggest surprises of the year for me, and I do have a review of this on my channel, so if you haven't seen the review, definitely check it out. I pretty much try to convince you to go watch this movie the entire time because it is so great and so much fun. This is the story of Jojo, a young boy who is being raised to hate as a Hitler youth, but doesn't yet fully understand the kind of world he is growing up in. Things get even more complicated when he discovers his mother is hiding a Jewish girl in their house. So Jojo tries to find the right thing to do with the help of his imaginary friend, Adolf Hitler. I love that Taika Waititi decided to tackle this complex subject that a lot of other directors would not have touched. I just don't think a lot of other people could have pulled this off, if even anyone other than him. He made this film a really, really funny and heartfelt and entertaining experience, but also didn't shy away from the darker moments, and I think it makes it pretty unique that way. Also, it is gorgeously shot and extremely colorful and vibrant. When you're watching a film that is set during wartime, it is usually very grim and very just gloomy and dark. And there's a reason for that. You know, wars are awful. But this one portrays this kind of setting through the eyes of a child. And of course, that is going to look different because childhood to all of us is kind of not the same experience as the same time was for adults. So aside from this movie being hilarious and entertaining and occasionally heartbreaking, this is also a very unique perspective, and it has some really, really awesome standout child performances, which I do not say very often about movies. I am not a big fan of kids in movies because I feel like people cut them a lot of slack because they're children and like then the performance is not as good as the adults in the film. Not the case in Jojo Rabbit, definitely not. Plus, Scarlett Johansson is absolutely fantastic in the film. Basically, if you haven't seen it, I think you need to do yourself a favor and watch it because you're going to thank me later. All right, this is almost the same lighting. I had to wait for the sun to go away because things were getting crazy, and now it's just over here in this corner, so improvements. This video is going really well. All right, back to the list. At number 2, I have another 2018 film that I should have seen a long time ago, and I am really sad I didn't get to see on the big screen, and that is The Favorite. Yes, I finally found a Yorgos Lanthimos film that I actually love. The Favorite is a loosely historical drama and a black comedy set in early 18th century England. It's a story of two cousins, Abigail and Sarah, and each of them wants to be the queen's favorite. This is a brilliant film that portrays politics and relationships at the court, but also comments on ambition, greed, the lengths someone will go to achieve their goals, and where that road might lead. If you've been watching my channel for a while, you know that I don't get along with the type of performances this director wants out of his actors. I do not enjoy the deadpan situation, but it wasn't a thing in this movie, and what we got here was something that I absolutely loved because the cinematography was creative, the performances were amazing. This film was absolutely hilarious. I loved everything about it. I don't even know why this did not win Best Picture because this is a masterpiece in my opinion. I don't even have the words to describe this film properly without actually sitting down and planning a review, which is not what I'm doing at the moment. Maybe something for a future video. But the short version is, the writing is amazing. The story is outstanding. I loved the ending in particular. It was something else. The cast is phenomenal. The costumes are gorgeous. The setting, the cinematography, the lenses they use, the way everything just is working together. The whole thing is just wow. I am blown away by this film. If you haven't seen it, you should really watch it, especially if you're like me and you don't get along with Yorgos Lanthimos on a regular basis. If his films are usually a little bit off for you, give this one a try. This one is different, especially if you like period pieces. This is great. And he does play a little bit with the genre, which is so cool to watch. And finally, at number 1, my favorite film of the year still, and what's probably going to remain my favorite of the year, Parasite. Of course. Nobody's surprised. I think people are going to be sick of hearing of this film by the time everybody releases their best of 2019 lists because, you know, it's that good. I am sure that by now you've heard so much about Parasite, you don't need another recap of the setup. I will say, however, that this is a genre-bending experience I would recommend to everyone. Yes, its social commentary is rooted in class divide between the rich and the poor, but it's also a thrilling story with enough twists and turns to keep you constantly glued to the screen. It's funny, it's clever, it's entertaining, and it is unforgettable. This is another film that I do have a full review of, so check it out if you haven't. I go into a little bit of detail of why I think this is absolutely a masterpiece, not just of this year, but generally of the past few years. I will say that I saw the movie again. It was even better the second time around. I picked up on so many more details and so much more foreshadowing. The film is just so cleverly put together. I think my favorite thing about it is how much of a gray area the entire situation is. Nobody is perfectly good or just stereotypically bad. Everybody has a dimension to them. Everybody has their own story. Everybody's right and wrong in certain ways. Bong Joon-ho made a film that is very layered and complex and can be enjoyed from many different perspectives, but is also very easy to understand and very easy to recommend. So it is simultaneously kind of a crowd pleaser, but also a complex story with a lot of social commentary. If you haven't seen the film yet, do yourself a favor and watch it as soon as you can. And of course, if you can see it on the big screen, you should definitely do so. And that's it for the top 5 movies I watched this fall. The lighting is completely different once again because the sun is completely gone now, so I'm just relying on my artificial lights, and that obviously looks not the same as when this video started. So That's cool. This video has been an adventure. I am sure most of you have seen at least some of the films I talked about today, maybe even the miniseries Unbelievable, even though I feel like that one is flying under the radar a little bit. But whatever you have seen, let me know what you thought about those things in the comments below. And I would love to know if you loved them as much as I did, if you thought they were okay, if you hated them for some reason, and tell me what your favorites of the fall are. Talk to me in the comments. Also, if you are interested in keeping up with everything I watch, you should follow me on Letterboxd. I am Impression Blend on there as well, just as I am everywhere on social media. So I will leave a link to my profile in the info box below, along with all of my social media links in case you are not following me there, because a lot of you are not. As always, thank you to everyone who is watching this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and if you did, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up, share it, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, check out my Patreon, and I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. I will see you very soon in my next video. Bye!